So as you can see here, I am saying that else if the value of this false and true variable is not true, so it is false, okay? Then execute this line of code here, chx false and true no dot set checked true. So as you can see here, this object is actually related to this component here, this checkbox. So as you can see here, this checkbox is actually on. So this line of code here is actually executed. So the value of this false and true variable is actually false. The value of this expression is false. False and true results in a false value, okay? So let's actually comment out this if-else statement here. And then let's actually type in these statements in another way. So each chx false and true yes dot set checked, and then let's actually put in a pair of round brackets, false and true question mark true, otherwise false, okay? chx false and true no dot set checked, let's actually put in a pair of round brackets here, not false and true, and this means if the value of this false and true variable is false, then assign the value true to this set checked method that is related to this object chx false and true no, otherwise assign the value false to this object. So as you can see here in the emulator, the value of this false and true variable is actually false. So as you can see, we specified that if the value of this false and true variable is false, then assign the value true to this checkbox. So as you can see, this checkbox is actually on. So let's actually run our project again and see what happens. So as you can see here, it's now showing the same results again. The value of this false and true variable is actually false. So this checkbox is actually checked, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So let me explain again. Here we actually specify that if the value of this false and true variable is true, then assign the value true to this setChecked method that is related to this chx false and true yes object. So this object is actually related to this component, and otherwise if the value of this false and true variable is actually false, then assign the value false to this object, okay? So as you can see here, this checkbox is actually checked off. Okay, so this checkbox is not on, and here we actually specify that if the value of this false and true variable is actually false, then assign the value true to this object, as you can see, otherwise assign the value false. So this value is actually false, so it is actually assigning the value true to this checkbox here. Okay, as you can see, this checkbox is actually on. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay everyone, now let's actually go back inside this content underline main.xml, and then let's actually put in a linear layout horizontal into this linear layout vertical, and then let's actually put in a large text view into this linear layout. Okay, as you can see, the color of this linear layout, as you can see, is orange. Okay, when I actually hover over this linear layout, when I want to put this large text view into this linear layout. Okay, so as you can see, now this text view is actually inside this linear layout horizontal. So let's actually double click on this large text view, and then for the text, just type in here false and false. Okay, press on enter key on your keyboard. So as you can see, now our text view is ready, and then let's actually drag in two checkboxes into this linear layout. So let's actually double click on this checkbox. So for the text, just type in here yes, and for the ID, just type in here chx false and false yes. Okay, let's actually drag in another checkbox into this linear layout. So checkbox, put it here beside this checkbox here, and then double click on this checkbox, and for the text, just type in here no, and for the ID, just type in here chx false and false no. Okay, and then click on this linear layout horizontal, and then as you can see, let's actually find the gravity attribute and then check this center underline horizontal checkbox here, okay? And let's actually go back inside this main activity.java file here. So now let's actually create a comment here. So false and false. Okay, so here at the top of the screen, as you can see, where we are actually creating objects from these checkbox classes, here I actually created a comment, and now I want to actually create two other checkbox objects. So checkbox chx false and false yes, and then I actually put in an assignment operator here. So here I need to cast this object to a checkbox object, find view by id r.id.chx false and false yes. Okay, again let's actually create another checkbox chx false and false no. Assignment operator, here I need to cast this object to a checkbox object, find view by id r.id.chx false and false no. Okay, so now let's actually interact with these checkboxes here. So let's actually scroll down the screen here. Now let's actually create a comment, okay, false and false. So let's actually create a boolean variable named false and false, and then I put an assignment operator here, and then I want to actually assign a value to this variable false and false. Okay, as you can see, I created a boolean expression here, and then I want to assign the result of this expression to this variable, okay, false and false. So if the result of this expression is actually true, that true value is going to be assigned to this variable, and if the result of this expression is actually false, that false value is going to be assigned to this variable. Okay, so let's actually create an if statement here. If false and false actually has the value true, so now I can actually execute this line of code inside of this if statement. So chx false and false yes dot set checked true. Okay, else if not false and false, and this means if the value of this false and false variable is not true, so it is false, then execute this line of code inside of these curly braces, chx false and false no dot set checked true. Okay, so now let me explain again what's going on here. So first of all, I actually created a boolean variable, and then I assigned a value to this variable, okay, false and false. The result of this expression is going to be assigned to this variable. And then I actually created an if-else statement here. First of all, I specify that if a false and false variable has the value true, then execute this line of code here. If the value of this false and false variable is true, execute this line of code here. And else if the value of this false and false variable is false, then execute this line of code here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And let's actually run our project and see what happens. Okay, as you can see, now our application is actually running on this emulator here. And as you can see, the value of this false and false variable is actually false, okay, because this checkbox is actually checked. So because this checkbox is actually checked, then we can actually conclude that the value of this false and false variable is actually false. So the result of this expression is false. Okay, false and false results in a false value. So let's actually comment out again this if else statement here, because I want to show you another way in order to write this code. So chx false and false yes, that's set checked, and then I put in a pair of round brackets here, false and false question mark true, otherwise false. So here I am saying that if the value of this false and false variable is true, then assign the value true to this set checked method. Otherwise, assign the value false to this set checked method. Okay.